in the Middle East. It has three peace envoys in the Middle East, Tony Blair, and Gordon Brown, and David Cameron. Those are the three peace envoys in the Middle East. I believe they're conducting war crimes in the Middle East. I think that's what those peace envoys are doing. I believe they're conducting war crimes there. If you look at the stability of the Middle East, it doesn't seem to be very stable. So I think that's why those peace envoys are conducting war crimes in the Middle East. I think that Great Britain is very involved in Cyprus and the Middle East. I think it has an air base in Cyprus for the purposes of intervention in the Middle East. It has quite a serious involvement in the Middle East, and I think it has invested itself in the Middle East. It's sending an aircraft carrier there, and it's seemed to be very present in the Middle East. I think it's something to do with a special relationship with America and the Iraq War. America's illegal invasion of Iraq and the Iraq War. I think that Great Britain seems to think there's an opportunity in the Middle East, so it's involving itself with the Middle East. It has a presence in Jordan, quite a strong presence in Jordan that could influence the territorial rights of Saudi Arabia. I believe also Great Britain is conducting the ISIS militia campaign against Syria and Iraq. I believe Great Britain is involved with ISIS and is behind the ISIS militia campaign. I believe that it's also kind of influencing Iran. I think there's some kind of relationship between London and Iran. I think there's a lot of activity with London government institutions who have an interest in Iran. I think for the purposes of perhaps involving themselves with the Iraq invasion and the Iraq war, and perhaps developing the special relationship with America. So I think London government institutions are very preoccupied and involved with Iran. I think they have a lot of kind of introductions and placements there that are perhaps introducing themselves into the Iraq theatre of war. I think that London is engaged with a relationship with Iran, and I think that's kind of impacting the conditions of Iraq and Ground Zero. Iraq is very important in the Middle East because it's very centrally located in the Middle East, and it can kind of configure itself with the oil of the Middle East. With Saudi Arabia, we've had 2 Gulf wars that have involved Iraq. We've also had the 10-year Iraq and Iran war, so we've had a few wars with Iraq because it's very pivotal and engaged with the Middle East. So I think for Great Britain to kind of interfere in Middle East politics for the purposes of a special relationship with America, and to kind of involve itself with the Iraq war. I don't think there's a purpose to involve itself with the Iraq war. I don't think Great Britain has to involve itself with the Iraq war, but I think it seems to be interested in doing that. And I think we have a condition now because of that relationship to have Iran introducing itself into the Iraq theatre of war and kind of impacting the whole Middle East relations, including Syria and Saudi Arabia and maybe Yemen as well, and that could be impacting global economic conditions, because it could be impacting impacted the oil for the world. It could be impacting some kind of oil for the world. So I think those influences are kind of affecting the economic conditions of the world, because I think they have an impact on Saudi, on kind of maybe not so much American oil in the world anymore, but Iran oil in the world. I think we have Iran oil in the world, so I think those are the conditions we have to deal with. Thank you very much.